Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the Panda. Woo! This is the second video I made on this one. The previous was the camshaft. No, the previous was the cam belt. This is a car that I found for my parents. It's a really nice little car, but it needed a cam belt and it needed an MOT. And the MOT found a couple of issues that I have to fix, and I will fix them in this video. It's a really nice car. I really like it. I think I have to try to find a 4x4 or a Panda 100P at one point, because even though it's way too new for me, I really like the philosophy about these cars. Anyway, there's an issue at this tire. The issue is excessive, and that's a quite common issue on the Panda. Excessive wear in the top mount, and as you can see now, there's a lot of movement up and down on the wheel, and it's too much. Just to show you, on the other side, I actually changed a lot of stuff in there, and one of the things was also the top mount. And take a look at this. There is no movement up and down in this one now. So we're going to do the same on the other side. Let's start by removing the wheel. There we go. So the thing that I'm going to change is the top mount up there, but I'm also going to change the shock. And it might seem a little silly because there's actually not anything wrong with this in particular, but it's quite rusty up here, and on the other side it actually failed the MOT because it's leaking and it's very loose now. So even though the other one could pass the MOT, I don't want to change just one shock absorber, because if I did that, the characteristics of the suspension would be different from side to side, and it would be unpleasant to drive. So therefore, I'm going to change it together with the top mount. Firstly, I want to undo the brake line and the ABS sensor, and then I want to undo this stabilizer bolt right there. Yep, it's undone. Then I want to undo the two bolts right there. So with those two out, I can just lever this out of the way, and the strut tower is actually hanging loosely right there. So now I need to undo it up top. And the Panda is a little bit different than what I'm used to. It could probably be pretty normal on newer cars. I normally work on old cars, because normally there is a bolt here, here and here that you can undo, but not on the Panda. There is only the one in the middle, and then there is a bolt underneath that also. But normally if you undo this one, you could be in a world of trouble, because you will release the tension on the spring, but not on the Panda, at least not the first bolt. There is a special tool for this, a special kind of ratchet thingy, where you can put something through there and lock this, because this will probably turn. I don't have those kinds of tools, and normally it will work out fine anyway. But when I come to reassemble it, it's actually supposed to be torqued to a certain amount of torque. I won't be able to do that, but I will tell you what the correct spec is, and then you will just have to decide whether to buy the tools yourself. Let's see if I'm lucky to just be able to undo it with this. Yep, it worked fine. There we go. With the spring removed, I'm gonna use these compressors to compress the springs. I'm reusing the springs because this is on a budget. It would be nice to change it, of course, but they are not broken. And they will last for a while still. Therefore, we are not going to change it. And you might disagree with not just changing the springs now that I'm in here. But if you do that, it's totally fine. But I am not one for changing stuff that is not broken. I'm just taking the tension off the spring. There we go. And with the tension off the spring, I can undo the big bolt up here. To do that, I will need, once again, to lock that. And what I can do is just to put this Allen key in and press it against the floor. Then I should be able to just like that. Now that it's loose, I will probably be able to just spin it off. There we go. And then this is the top mount. There's a bearing in there. And this has collapsed slightly, which allows the movement that I showed you to begin with. Off with the spring. Unfortunately, I forgot to buy new gaiters, so I'm going to reuse them also, but once again, there's nothing wrong with them. They will work just fine. The shock absorber, though, is very corroded. And although it still is working, I think it's a good time to change this. Here's the new piece. I'm going to spray it where I'm going to spray it everywhere, but to begin with, I'm just going to spray it where I can't really access later on with some, this is Proland. It's not air or anything, but I just like it. And then I can push this down and remove this. Like that, and then I can go ahead and fit the spring into the same position as the old one, like that. And this is the old rubber where the bearing sits inside right there. This is the new one, and as you can see, there's quite a big thickness difference in these two now, and that is what gives it the amount of play, which will be noisy while driving around, of course. Then I'm going to fit this. This points towards the wheel. And then the bearing, I'm just going to make sure that it sits right. There we go. And then this one on top, the arrow points towards the rear of the car. Weird to make an arrow that points backwards, but that's the way it is. It's possible to put it there on the wrong way, so keep that in mind. And then I can fit this bolt, and the next bolt that attaches it to the vehicle is tightened to 45 Newton meter. The top one should be loosely fitted or snug fitted while the car is off the ground, and tightened to spec when the car is on the ground. I don't have the correct tools to do the torque to tighten this up to the correct torque, so I'm going to do it on feel. That's just my way of doing stuff. Whatever you do, you decide. But the correct way is 45 Newton meter. And what I tend to do is this, when I don't have the correct tool. Click! Click, click! There we go. I'm just checking that it moves freely, and it does. So now I can release the tension on the spring compressors. There we go. And then I'm going to spray it down with this. Like that, ready to install. Before putting it back, I'm just going to inspect for rust up here. It looks all right. And then I'm just going to spray more of that protection up there. And then it's ready to install. I can just go ahead and slide this one in like this. I will tighten that up when the car is on the ground. Slide the bolts back in. Just gonna give this some assembly paste or anti-seize kind of stuff. And these are tightened to 75 Newton meter. There we go. There we go. This one back in. This one back in. That's it. New shock, new top mounts are in. No play when pushing up at all. Everything is tight and good. This is now ready. I need to change the lower control arm also, but I'm gonna do that off camera. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest. I just wanted to make a quick video because I realized that this is a very common issue on these cars, and there's a lot of these on the roads, and I think a lot of you guys are driving these as dailies. At least I know quite a few who does, and I can understand why if you need a newer car, I would choose one of these also, I think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon. There's a link down below, and see you in the next one.